Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the 2-in-1 Golf Podcast, episode 66, U.S. Open Week. And let's start it off by wishing all our fathers out there a happy Father's Day.
Yeah, happy Father's Day, you too.
Thanks,
Thank
Sterling.
you. Thank you, Sterling. Really appreciate it.
Did you guys do anything special besides watch the U.S. Open?
So I got to play some golf. Tried to play some golf Saturday. That didn't go very well, as you saw. And then the girls and I played again on Sunday, and everybody actually played really, really well. So, just kind of a day late. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes you just don't have it when you need it.
I hate it when that happens.
We saw that this weekend.
I hate it when that happens. Yeah. No, it was a good weekend. Played golf with my wife on Saturday afternoon. Just played 9 holes down at Virginia Beach, and then got out and played 9 holes at Independence yesterday afternoon. Get a little preview of the State Open course for Sterling. Doing a little bit of coursework for him. Firm and fast out there right now. So it's got some Pinehurst vibes to it. But yeah, just a good all around weekend. Spent some time with the girls, and yeah, good times. Sterling, what about you? I know you went down. I think we talked about it last week. You went down to the track with your dad in North Carolina.
Yep.
How was that?
Yeah, it was pretty good. My dad and I was obviously, you two know, but if the people don't know, we do drag racing with the NHRA. They had a race this weekend in North Carolina. He went down there for a Friday, Saturday race, and then, I was busy running a tournament, so I went down Sunday, hung out with him, and did okay. I did better than him on Sunday, which is, I don't know, it's always nice when you can, beat up on the old man. So other than that, it was good. Came back Sunday afternoon, got a little bit of rest, and hit the ground running this morning. So yeah, if you don't know, it is Monday, June 17th, the day after the U.S. Open, and Rory has been home now for about 25 and a half hours. Touchdown back in Florida. I think he got on that plane before Bryson even had the trophy in his hand or something like that.
Yeah,
is that about right?
I think someone was tracking his jet, and it was in the air. He was wheels up before Bryson had the trophy in the trophy ceremony, which is that's an accomplishment. That really he really got the heck out of Dodge as fast as he could. So tough scene for him.
Yeah, I think you got to get out of there. Yeah, I think you got to get out of there. It's been interesting. There was a post that came out about 4 hours ago. He has withdrawn from the Travelers Championship, which would have been the next time he would have teed it up. He's going to take some time off to reflect, and we'll see him again at the Scottish Open. So it hurts. Missing those putts on 16 and 18 are just an absolute dagger. And then, it's one of those things where if you're completely out of contention and you can just grab your clubs, change your clothes, and get on the jet and leave. But when you have to stick around just in case there could be a playoff, and you have to sit there and watch Bryson hit that clutch shot out of the sand to just a couple feet, makes the putt. I mean, it's just that extra little dagger, that extra little dig that I think, he definitely didn't need to see. But what a week for him overall. Played some of the best golf I've seen from him in a long time, but when it mattered most, he faded. So,
Where do I want to start with this? I want to go back a little bit to Rory leaving, as soon as he could. Do you all think there's some people at my job, you know who you are if you're listening, that believe that Rory should have stuck around, been the bigger man, and congratulated Bryson on his U.S. Open victory? Do you all believe that's what he should have done?
I think in hindsight, he's going to feel gonna feel like he should have. I think that in hindsight, he's gonna regret having gotten out of there so quickly. But after what he went through, or after what he put himself through, as my wife has said repeatedly, he did this to himself. He missed those putts, but after that happened, you can. I don't want to condone it, but I do understand it. I guess is how I'll put it. I get what it's like to be in the headspace that he was probably in at that time, and you're not really thinking straight. So, I mean, I kind of think for Rory, because of how he generally is with the media, maybe we can give him a pass. But I think he is going to come to regret not having been there to congratulate Bryson.
Yeah, I agree. I don't necessarily think that he needed to be there to congratulate him. I mean, if he happened to bypass him or whatever, yeah. I think the big takeaway that everyone is kind of pointing fingers at, because it's been kind of all over social media, was the fact that he gave no kind of response. There were no questions that could have been asked of him. There was nothing. And I think that's what a lot of people kind of want in that moment. And of course, it's still raw at that moment. You don't want someone being like, "Hey, what happened? You 469 attempts or whatever it was, and you haven't missed from that distance, and then you do it twice today. Like, what do you think it could be?" Nobody wants to hear those questions at that time, and I don't know what the PGA's policy is on media obligations. If he has to speak after a round, if he's asked, but I think that's kind of where people, I don't know, feel slighted or whatever with Rory, was that in that moment everyone wants to hear from him, like, "Hey, what the heck happened?" And he's gone. I don't know that he needed to be there to congratulate Bryson. I don't know what their relationship is. But I think it's just because there were no answers to any questions that were asked. And for someone who's over the last couple of years been so available to media, whenever he is not, it definitely stands out.
Yeah, that's a good point. But I mean, what could they have possibly asked Rory? What happened there on 16? What happened there on 18? Um, what is he going to say? I mean, I just missed the putt. That's all you can really say. Um, and to talk about his putting, I mean, the first 15 holes, he was making some incredible putts. I believe that, you know, everything always returns to the mean, I guess. So if he's rolling in great putts on 1 through 14, like, Roy's not the best putter in the world, it's bound to catch up to him. And it did on 16 and 18. So, I mean, I guarantee if you look at the putting stats, and I'm not going to look it up right now, but he probably had a really good putting day on Sunday. No one's really going to talk about,
I believe he
1
did.
through.
I believe he did. I believe he was positive strokes gained putting on Sunday, even with those two misses, because he made some incredible putts in order to get himself into that position. And one thing I wonder about, and we were talking about this before you got on, Sterling, but the way he played the fifth hole and bogeying a par five, one of the easiest holes on the course. He was playing one of the easiest holes that day. And yeah, he was probably only a couple feet on his approach shot from hitting a really good shot and having an eagle chance. But if he'd just taken one more club and hit it to the back of the green, and worst case he goes over, and worst case he hits a mediocre chip and makes a five. But if he's coming down the stretch with one more shot in his pocket, does the putt does the putt on 16 go in? Does he not line up? I don't know if you guys saw it. Maybe it was the camera angle, but it looked like he was lining up outside the hole. Like he was wishing for that thing to break more than it was gonna. If he's got another shot under his belt, does he hit it dead center with a little pace, make it, and then he could pretty much do whatever we wanted to on 18, including hit 3-wood off the tee and not bring bogey into play trying to make a birdie. I mean, the what if game is just like outrageous at this point.
Yeah, it is. But I think it's you got to look at it a different way, right? He could have had a shot. He couldn't have had it. He maybe didn't have a shot. Whatever it is. But coming down the stretch, those two holes, he couldn't have put himself in a better position when it comes to a putt that must be made. Now, if it was a 10-footer, some slider left to right, as most of the putts are at Pinehurst, then yeah, I could be like, he definitely needed some extra shots there. But to put yourself within 3 feet on the 16th and 18th hole and just completely below it, I think that's just mental. I don't even think that's a skill thing anymore at that point. I mean, like I said, it would be a different conversation if he was having to make some amazing putts to retain it. But I mean, he put himself in decent positions. Like, I mean, you would think, or Rory McIlroy at 3 feet, that's auto. That's an auto putt. I mean, it's any other time that's in the hole. But when you have to clutch up, when you have to make those to win a major, the storyline becomes now, does Rory still have that, as we've said the last couple podcasts, does he still have that dog in him? And after what we saw at Pinehurst, I think that dog's gone. I think it's been rehomed. I'm not really sure, but it's not there anymore.
Did they take that dog to the pound? I mean, did they put him down? Is it,
I don't know, but it's not
he's
there
got
anymore.
He's got hip dysplasia and just, you hate to see that.
I'm shocked that Madison Hill just said the dog is gone in Rory McIlroy.
And Rory, if you're out there listening, and we know you listen to the pod, we hope that inspires you for Royal Troon. Definitely, bulletin board material right here from Madison Hill.
I mean, he won the Wells Fargo by like 6. He went out there and took it from Xander. I know it's not a major championship, but it's a major championship venue. It was an elevated event. And I mean, I'm going to continue to go back to he's never been a great putter. I mean, not in the last 10 years. He had some great shots. I mean, it just didn't happen. Unfortunately, on 18, he had an unbelievable putt. That putt was, you pick half the guys in the field, that putt wasn't going to go in. I don't think it has anything to do with the dog and Rory McIlroy.
18 was tough. 18, you're right. I think most people are going to miss that putt just ripping across the face like that. It's funny, when he lined up that putt, I couldn't tell the break, and Mary and I both pointed at the screen on that one and said, "Oh my God, he's lined up way out to the left of the hole again." And then that one shoots across the face, right? And we were like, "Wow, we both misread that." I think another thing you got to talk about, though, is the way he played 15, the par 3, and trying to burn a low one in there, and that just kind of dumbfounded me as well. Like, that thing was never going to stay on the green the way he hit that.
Yeah, it's tough because we can see the lie on TV, but you never really know what he actually has.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I thought that was a pretty good shot, just looking at the way the bush was like.
Oh, I'm talking about the tee shot. I'm talking about the tee shot. Oh, I think his second shot, getting it on the green, was a feat.
Okay.
No, I mean, he can hit long irons higher than I can hit a lob wedge. He could have feathered a little cut in there, and he burned a low one in, and it just skipped right off the back of the green. That was kind of a weird choice of shots for me, but
yeah, I would have to agree. So Rory bogeys 16. I know he bogeys 15. He also bogeys 16. Bryson, is he par 16? Bryson par 16.
Yes,
So did Rory had a one-shot lead? Both players through 16? Is that correct?
that's correct. I mean, Rory had a one. No,
No, it can't be.
no, they were tied.
So then they were tied.
They were tied when he was on the 18th tee.
All right.
He was tied for the lead going into 18, and then thought he needed to hit driver off the tee and absolutely jailed himself.
So let's go to 18. Both players go left off the tee. Obviously, Rory's in the group in front of Bryson. I think Rory draws obviously the better situation on the second shot. Bryson's under that tree. He's taking 50 practice swings, and he looks over his caddy. He's like, I don't like this shot. Steps away from it, and then steps back in. It's a shot into the bunker. Rory comes up. Did Rory come up just short?
Yeah, he was 18? He was a little short of the green, but he had a pretty straightforward chip pitch, however you wanted to play it. Just gave it a little bit too much and hit it past the hole, which left him that terrifying left to right downhiller.
So Rory is in the house, makes bogey in the house at 5 under.
Mm-hmm.
You see Bryson under the tree. What are y'all's reactions? One, after Bryson's drive and you see where he's at. And then two, what do you think after he puts it in that bunker that's only 45 yards away from the green? Like, in my head, I'm just like, oh, okay. We're going to go to the first U.S. Open playoff we've seen in the last, I think it was 10 years. No, 14. 2008. I'm not sure what the math is, but the first playoff since 2008. And I was pretty excited to see that.
I'm thinking playoff. I was excited to see it too. I'm thinking Bryson finally really got punished for a bad tee shot because it seemed like he just drew decent lie after decent lie. They weren't great, but he was never really hosed hitting it in the wiregrass. He always. I'm trying to think. There might have been one occasion where he had to pitch out. But he was wayward enough with the driver yesterday that things could have, for a couple bounces here or there, things could have been really different.
I believe he punched out on 12.
Yeah, I think you're right. But I mean, he could have easily, just through luck, have had maybe 3 or 4 more punch outs. But yeah, I was definitely thinking bogey. I was thinking playoff. Even in the bunker. I mean, a 45-yard bunker shot is that's not super easy. And when you've got, is his sand wedge single length too?
Everything.
Yeah.
So he's playing with a sand wedge the length of a freaking 6-iron and hits that thing to 5 feet. And of course leaves it in the perfect spot too.
Yeah.
Right up the hill. He didn't hit it 5 feet past. If he'd had that 5-footer down the hill, left to right slider, that could have been an interesting, interesting turn of events too.
Yeah, when I saw it going way left, like towards the grandstands, I didn't know if depending on how far it went, if he would get line of sight relief, if it kind of got tucked behind there, if they'd give him relief. So that's when I saw it going left and where it's going, I was like, oh, well, he's going to get line of sight, so this should be pretty easy for him. But then it was just kind of, like you said, just right under that tree there. So when he punched out, I actually kind of expected him to do something crazier than that and try and hit some huge hook around there. So when he punched out and I saw it in the bunker, I did think playoff. I was like, all right, this will be good. But yeah, I mean, just clutched up in that moment, hit the shot that he needed to hit, put it exactly where he needed to, and made the putt. And you can't really knock his game this week. And it was one of those things that a lot of people were unsure of coming into it. They know that he'd played great in the majors leading up to this point, but everyone had really kind of talked about Pinehurst, the course, where, yeah, you can hit it down there far. The fairways are very forgiving, but, if you get in that wiregrass, everything's unpredictable. You don't know what you're going to get out of there. Sometimes you're going to get a good lie. Sometimes you're going to get, a really a really bad lie, and it was all going to be how did he play out of those situations? How was his short game? How was his putting? And I mean, he answered all the questions, checked all the boxes this week. I mean, you can't say that he didn't deserve it. Really, the final round was the first time you kind of saw a little bit of falter in him, and he didn't seem like he had looked all week long. But lucky for him, he was playing Rory McIlroy, so gets it done in the end.
Yeah, I think that one thing that did impress him about me, especially on Sunday, is I think he could have easily gone on tilt. And a few years ago, I think he might have. Um, but he really, really kept his composure throughout, especially, having to go out there after caving the face in on his gamer driver and having to hit the backup. And you knew he just wasn't comfortable with it, and it wasn't responding the way he was used to it responding. And, to be able to hold himself together and not implode, you do in fact have to hand it to him for that. You also, I think, hat tip to the USGA for not giving him TIO relief on 18. Those grandstands were not in the way.
Yeah.
I don't know if he was going to try to say, oh yeah, I'm going to hit a big cut. I'm going to start at 30 yards left and try to fade it around, and those grandstands are in my way. But they were having none of it, and I appreciate that.
I kind of want to say one more thing about Bryson before we give the USGA their flowers.
Mm-hmm.
And Mike, you might be able to touch on this a little bit better than I can.
Sure.
But the Pinehurst history with Payne Stewart and Bryson's, love for Payne Stewart. I know both players went to SMU. Bryson kind of copied his look from like 20, I guess. When Bryson won the USAM? Was that like 2014, 15-ish?
It was that time frame, yeah.
Yeah, so he was NCAA Player of the Year, USAM champion. He's wearing the, I don't know, what do you call that kind of hat?
Yeah, the Hogan cap, the flat cap, that kind of thing.
Yeah, and then Payne Stewart from Texas as well, or
originally from, I think, Kansas City, Missouri, but went to SMU, so kind of an adopted Texan. And they'll claim anybody. If you live in Texas, you're a Texan. My brother-in-law lives in Texas. He thinks he's a Texan now.
Shout out Doug.
So, but yeah, definitely making that connection. I think touched a lot of the right nerves. Gave a lot of people all of the feels, because the USGA and NBC were definitely playing up the Payne Stewart thing. You didn't nearly hear as much, reverie for Michael Campbell or Martin Keimer. Now, obviously, neither of them passed away tragically way too early either. But Bryson paying homage to Payne, I thought that was pretty good, and that was pretty classy. And if you watched all the coverage on Sunday, you got to see Payne's son and the little piece they did on him. And yeah, it was kind of tough to, keep a dry eye when they ran that one, because I remember distinctly when his plane went down. It was like they were covering it live when the plane was kind of flying out into the middle of nowhere, and they didn't know what was going on, and they couldn't get radio contact with the pilot. I mean, they were talking about potentially having to shoot it down because they were afraid it was going to crash in someplace populated. And I remember I think I was at work, and we were following it on the internet, the early days of the internet. And so, yeah, I mean, that was, kind of hitting you in the feels.
And then again, one more thing before USGA's the fans. Very surprised to see kind of a 50-50 split at Pinehurst. I think around the world, people were rooting for Rory because of the 10-year major drought. But I mean, the North Carolina fans were pulling for Bryson hard. I know they talked about that a lot on the coverage with his YouTube channel. The things that Bryson does behind the scenes, floating his golf balls into Epsom salt, and all the crazy things that he's done in the past with his new patented, what are they, the bulge
Yeah,
irons or
bulge and
something.
roll on irons. We have to talk
Yeah.
about that at some point. That needs to stop. But
Yeah,
Oh,
we need to
really?
get the FIA involved in that. I don't know if that's legal. That we need to review that.
I mean, it's legal, but it shouldn't be.
Why not?
You're taking too much skill out of the game when you can hit it anywhere on the face and it goes straight.
But your driver has it.
Yeah, we could talk about that too.
I mean,
That too. I know it's not illegal. It's definitely not illegal. It's just a matter of should it be okay? Are they taking too much skill out of the game? Are they creating a game where he can just absolutely mash, swing as hard as he possibly can, and as long as he makes contact with a golf ball, it's going to turn out pretty good. Yeah, I mean, I don't love that.
yeah, I hear you, but I mean, props to him for
Oh,
finding.
it's perfectly legal. He's using the rules to his advantage, just like any good competitor should.
Yeah.
I'd like to see him in the Belmont 75th anniversary tournament, though. Playing
I mean,
playing 1940s blades.
you can, honestly, if you really want to. It's not at Belmont, but
Has he done
he
that?
filmed.
Yeah,
He filmed a pretty recent video. I guess maybe a little bit before we did. But yeah, him and Garrett Clark. I think Garrett used regular, current day clubs, and he went back and used some older clubs. But yeah, if you're not following us on YouTube and you're currently watching on YouTube, just scroll down a little bit and hit subscribe. But yes, on Sunday we came out with a video, a little throwback, if you will. Mike and friends played Belmont Golf Course, which hosted the 19 what?
49.
Mike, PGA Championship. Thank
49.
you. 1949 PGA Championship, which at the time the course was Hermitage Country Club, but they, left in, was it like the 80s or 90s to go out west?
Moved out to the burbs in the 80s, I think.
And yeah, so they played with 1940s clubs. Did you all play? I don't know. Did they set up the course like? Do they even have that information? Was it like similar to the yardage that they? Oh, okay.
No, we played the 1-ups, which is probably fairly similar to the yardage that they played it at.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, that was a challenge. That was a challenge playing those clubs, especially the woods. I mean, talk about bulge and roll. You hit one a little bit off the toe, and it's just dive bomb hook.
Yeah.
Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. It's going about 60 yards left.
I wish I could have played Belmont before they took away the first 6 holes.
Oh yeah.
Just from what I've seen, like the pictures and the videos from that PGA Championship, I know the first hole is basically still there with the driving range, but I feel like holes 2 through 6 could have been like something pretty special. I don't know, but it looks like it could have been pretty interesting.
So you never played it when it was just Belmont? Okay, yeah.
Mm-mm.
It was a fun layout. There was a lot of congestion around. Let's see, 1, 2, 3
It was 3.
4-1 because there's a green, a tee box, and a fairway that all kind of like bunch near where that tree is, in the middle of the range. So that always got kind of congested. There was balls flying everywhere. Um,
Yeah.
and then 5 was just a when we talk dog leg right, it was a 90-degree angle. Like you start by the tennis courts and you can either take it over the trees, which is hole 1 on Little Bell, or you just hit it straight out and then straight right. It was a fun little course.
Sterling, if we can ever shut the driving range and practice areas down, we can pretty much play the first 6 holes.
Mm-hmm.
Madison and I could probably take you around and figure out the first 6 holes. But yeah, the fourth tee was just it. You needed a dome. You needed some kind of protective covering over it because you would just stand on that tee box and get shelled by people aiming so far left off first tee because they didn't want to hit it in Hilliard Road, and then people trying to drive the green on 3 and hitting it just all over the place. So it was definitely pretty chaotic. But those first 6 holes were fun. Now, Madison, did you play Belmont with the old first green on the other side, the far side of the creek?
No, so I've always played it where it's basically where it is now, just on this side of the creek.
Okay, because way back in the day when I first moved to town, the first green was on the other side of the creek, and that hole was darn near impossible.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of balls hit into Hilliard. I've seen balls hit so far right that they're into the power station across the street. So yeah, that first hole was always, it's just so tricky. You never know what you're gonna find there.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely a fun course back in the day. Still a great course now if you haven't played Belmont since it's been redone. I mean, get out there and play it. It's a great facility now too.
All right.
Little detour there, but
Yeah.
getting back to the USGA, and
Yeah.
I think the setup this week was just like, chef's kiss. So good. So good. Great shots being rewarded. Pretty good shots rolling off the edges of greens. Just absolutely loved it. Loved seeing Scotty just absolutely frustrated out of his mind because he didn't have it, and it seemed like was never, in a lot of shots was just not that far off. He was 2 feet left of where he wanted to be, 3 feet right of where he wanted to be, and instead of having a 40-footer, he's got a 30-yard pitch shot over the false front, got a hit a one hop and stop on a green that's like a like a pool table. So just I couldn't have asked for any more from a setup standpoint. I feel like Pinehurst this year is what they promised us from LACC last year. I think we got this year what we were promised last year.
Yeah, I think the setup was great. I don't know if you had listened last week, Mike. We talked a little bit about it, and I said that I definitely wanted a little bit of carnage out there. And it's Thursday when I was kind of tuning into a little bit of coverage, and I saw the scores are, there were several people already kind of going low. I was thinking maybe this is not the year, but I think there was only 10 or 11 players that actually finished under par. Which for a U.S. Open is great. That's exactly how you want it to be. So overall,
Right.
I thought the tournament was great. I thought the sort of the drama coming down the stretch was also very good. I didn't want to see anybody necessarily running away with it. I wanted it to kind of be a back and forth battle, and I think that's what we got. That's what the fans got on the grounds as well. They were loving it. They were eating it up, cheering as Rory was rolling them in, and then Bryson with that wedge shot out of the bunker on 18. I mean, it gave us everything that we were looking for. So, yeah, flowers to the USGA, whatever you want to call it. Kudos. It was exactly what we needed.
Yeah, and so good news. It's the anchor site. It's one of the anchor sites, I guess, now for the USGA. So we'll be back here every 5 years, which I think is a little too soon. Um, but if they continue to set it up like they did, it's going to be a great tournament every year. Sorry, a great championship. Um, it's always funny to me. Like round one, leading was 5 under, and then you play 3 more rounds of golf, and 6 under is your winner. I always like to think back, like, man, if Cantlay or Rory just shot. Well, Rory did shoot even for the next 3 rounds, and Cantlay was probably only one or two over. Yeah, one over in his last 3 rounds. But I don't know, like if you're Cantlay and it's Thursday night, and the reporter goes, "Would you take 5 under the rest of the way?" Like, no chance he'd say yes, right? But obviously now in hindsight, 6 under wins it. So yeah, I thought again USGA great job. Obviously the course didn't look pleasing. I know some people came to first tee and were like, "Man, like that course looks terrible," but like that is what Pinehurst is. It's natural. They water it Monday, Tuesday, and then Wednesday through Sunday they just kind of let it go. But yeah.
I don't know. I think it looks phenomenal that way. I mean, with all the native area on the edges, and the fact that it's a total crapshoot. You know, you drive it into the rough, and you know everybody's everybody's kind of on the edge of their seat. Do you get a good lie? Do you not get a good lie? Is he going to get away with this? He's going to be completely hosed. And I think that makes for interesting. It makes for interesting watching. It makes for interesting TV. I mean, I was definitely captivated by it. Every time Bryson hit one in the native, I'm like, is he going to get away with it again? Is he finally going to wind up like square behind one of the bushes, or right in front of, have a big clump of wiregrass right behind the ball and not even be able to get a club on it? And, I don't think you could ask for anything more than that, because when they do the whole thick rough thing, it's always the same. You know what you're going to get. There's very little variability in that. And I think this, at least once every 5 years, I think this is a cool, different kind of test. I don't know that they necessarily want this every year, but I think every 5 years, it's a really interesting, different kind of test.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think it's, you look at someone like a Scotty Scheffler, right? I mean, someone who's just been playing out of their mind right now. It just seems like he's always in contention. And then you bring him to a course like this in a US Open setting, and nowhere really to be found. So I think it's definitely a great level set. And just kind of, I guess what I'm thinking is you can have the best stats going into a course like Pinehurst, but I don't think they really mean anything. You can have the best stats, shots gained approach or off the tee or anything like that, but you're missing by inches. One shot either rolling towards the pin or sitting up there, or it's rolling back to your feet, or it's everything is right on the edge. So I think it's a great course because it's just kind of, like I said, it's just a level set. It just, whoever is having the best week that week will win, and that's what we saw with Bryson. So I'm excited to see it again in 2029 and kind of see what we get there. Do we want to kind of talk a little bit about our picks, Mike? We made some picks on your behalf. Sterling and I had a little. Did you take Clanton as your amateur?
I did, yeah.
So
Did you? Oh my goodness.
Sterling and I had a little head to head. I took my man Shipley, and Sterling took Clanton. So yeah, just one putt shy for them, tying for low amateur. I guess it was on 18.
It was 18.
Yep, he just rolled it.
And Clanton stuffed it too.
Yeah, he did.
Absolutely stuffed that approach.
Yep. So Shipley joins an elite group of people who've won both low amateur at Augusta and the U.S. Open, or at least I think low amateur and two of the majors. I think Victor Hovland is on that list, surprisingly enough. But yeah, this will be his last amateur event. He is turning professional. So Can't wait to see what he actually does on tour. Already got a sponsorship, right, Sterling?
What'd you say? I'm sorry, you're kind of cutting in on.
I said he's already got a sponsorship, doesn't he?
Honestly, what is he saying, Mike? Because I don't
I'm
know.
not getting them either, Madison. We're getting about every third word from you right now.
Yeah, I was hoping you didn't ask me a question because I got no clue what you're saying. Let's try it one more time.
I don't know. I was going to say, doesn't he have a sponsor now?
There you go.
Oh yeah, he I'm scrolling on Instagram and I see a post with him and Arby's, like they've partnered, and obviously now a sponsor. But yeah, he's just like, I forgot what the post said, but then I sent it to Madison. He goes, "Yeah, like they had the meats or something."
Yeah, he's doing a giveaway with
Arby's
them right
hasn't
now.
been in the. Arby's hasn't done a golf sponsorship since what was it? Beef Johnston.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him.
Yeah, but all those, I mean, don't nearly all the top amateurs have NIL deals now?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, that's to be expected. Now, Shipley, I know he finished up school at Ohio State, but did he start at JMU?
He did.
Go Dukes.
Are you allowed to say that?
Not really, no.
All right, let's go ahead and get a clip of that, and we'll save it.
You know, it's fine.
Next time you go to...
It's fine now. They don't even they've advanced beyond 1AA football. We don't play them anymore. They're too good for us now. But yeah, that low amateur contest was a lot of fun. A lot of fun to watch. I think we're going to see big things out of both of them in a few years. I'm excited for it.
So going back to our picks, Madison, where's Max Homa? I can't find him.
Max Homa was at home this weekend, but that wasn't my pick this week, so that's not really has no value. Right
favorite golfer, favorite pick.
Yeah,
Minwoo Lee, top 25. Where's he at? Yeah, nice. T21. I don't know what it is. He makes the cut by like 2 or something, and then usually plays well on Saturday and then doesn't play well Sunday. I'm not sure what Minwoo Lee's got to do to get it at least a top 10. I mean, come on.
Sounds like Ricky
I
Fowler.
think it's
my pick, Colin Morikawa. T14. Who did you take?
I took Cam this week. I think he finished T32 or T39.
T30 something, 32.
Yep. I took him.
And then we gave.
Yeah, who did I get?
Sahith.
You gave me South. Okay, so he finished T32.
Oh, okay.
So not bad. You know,
and then,
you take that first round out, 77. You know,
I tried to take Akshay with my dark horse, but Madison wasn't gonna let me have him. So then I took Aaron Rye. Still got T19.
Nice.
Yeah, see, that's good. I think my dark horse was Tim Veeding from the Korn Ferry Tour, and I think he finished T39.
41.
41.
Looking at it here.
Yep.
Harry Higgs, did he make the cut?
No.
Oh.
The big rig, my boy, he did not make the cut.
Should have gave you Molinari. Why were we talking about Daniel Berger last week, Madison?
He qualified for the U.S. Open, and remember he's been like on a medical exemption, I think, over the last couple of years. Mm-hmm. So he really hasn't been playing any golf. But I saw on the longest day that he qualified. I think he won his site to make it into the U.S. Open. So I said it would be interesting to see what he did. Where did he end up finishing?
T21.
Yeah,
not bad.
Right there with Minwoo. No, not at all. Pretty good. He's starting to get a little game back. I think that'd be good to see.
Yeah, I just always forget about
I
him.
think that'd be
All
good
right.
to see. So, going down the leaderboard a little bit, I really thought Matthew Pavon was just going to completely disappear from view on Sunday, and he hung in there.
Yeah, you wouldn't have thought.
T5 for
You wouldn't
him.
have thought so with the way they covered just the Rory and Bryson show.
Mm-hmm.
Cantlay best finish somehow in a major championship, but really was never even a factor coming on the stretch.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got to
Didn't
be.
hear anything about LaCava and Rory getting into it at all, so that was good.
No, they gave each other a little fist bump on the first tee. So who knows? Maybe they've buried the hatchet. Tony Finau doing Tony Finau things, shoots himself out of contention and then plays his way back into it for a
Yeah,
T
68,
three.
69, 72, 67. Just crazy. You
I
get
know.
rid of the 72 and you shoot 70 and you're in a playoff.
Yeah. Well, even God, did he made 2 bogeys in the first 4 holes on Sunday. He doesn't do that. He shoots 65 instead of 67. He's in the playoffs. So there's that too. But yeah, good week for him. Good week for Big Time.
Big Cat, LT Gray, Madison and I had some, words. We thought this would be his best opportunity. Flat, Pinehurst, the heat, the ability to play different shots around the greens, the ability to kind of hit that low stinger and let it run out there. Not a good sign when, in his post round press conference after round 1, he goes, I was hitting fades all month and I show up here and I'm hitting draws. Didn't have it. Let me see if I can find him down here. I think he shot 8 over,
He was
right?
8 over, I think, when he missed the cut.
7 over. He was 7 over.
7 over. So yeah, 74, 73. Not terrible. I mean,
No.
but he did end up missing it by 2. Some reporter from like CNN or something asked him if this would be his last U.S. Open, and he said he was unsure. And I think that's more he has to qualify. I know there was talks about giving Tiger a lifetime exemption into the signature or elevated or designated events. I think that'll probably happen somehow, some way. So that kind of guarantees him a spot into all the major championships for the rest of his career.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't.
He would have to actually play the signature events in order to play his way in. But I feel like he's probably getting special exemptions from the USGA if he wants them. I wonder if he wants to play Oakmont next year. I don't know that he wants to play Oakmont next year.
Yeah, you talk about Hilly.
Yeah.
I mean,
hilly, long rough, just does not sound like fun.
I think the question that he needs to ask himself, and I'm sure people are talking about this around him, is like, at what point do you hang it up? Like, he could have done it. What year was it at St. Andrews? The Open was at St. Andrews when he was walking across the bridge, missed the cut. Like, he could have done it there.
22.
Yeah,
but he continues on. The game is not there anymore. I mean, the courses that he used to have a lot of the advantages on, like Augusta, where he could show up with 75% and still manage to get it around and be in somewhat of contention. Like, he just doesn't do it anymore. And when you're showing up, you're getting these special exemptions, and you're just missing the cut. At what point do you just kind of become like that honorary starter that we see every year at the Masters? I mean, that's what it feels like he's becoming. They get him there. He shows up because he brings eyes, right? He brings eyes. The sponsors love it because they can talk about it and they can show his past wins from previous majors. They love it all, but then he just doesn't do anything. So like at what point does he say, okay, enough is enough, like I'm gonna hang it up now?
When he doesn't show signs of greatness, that's when it'll be time. He had an 18-hole stretch in his 2 rounds. If you take round 1, start on hole number 5, and go all the way until hole number 4 in round 2, he was even par. I think when you can no longer take a stretch like that, like if he's got, doubles and like he didn't make any big numbers, I don't believe, right? I mean, he made nothing but bogeys.
Yeah.
No doubles, 4 birdies. Am I seeing that right? Sorry, three birdies, no doubles. I guess that means he had 10 bogeys. But I mean, like I said, like when he can't, obviously he's gonna have to play unbelievable golf to ever have a chance. I think Tiger really on, he still has a chance. And if that's still the case, then he'll continue to play. I don't know why you're laughing, Mike.
No, I'm not. I agree.
I wasn't talking about you, Mike. Madison had the biggest grin, looking like the Grinch from
just because I'm saying though, like, yeah, he had an 18-hole stretch where he had nothing but pars, right? But we still missed the cut, and we're really not.
No, I mean he had bogeys and birdies.
Okay, but we're even par, right? Isn't that what you said? Was that your argument? He was even par over 18 holes. Okay. Yeah. But still, like, if he's not competing, if he's not there, at least not making the cut, and we agree that this was probably the best layout for him when it comes to his body. Hot days, keeps the body loose, extremely flat, really no elevation at all. Like, these were some of his best opportunities when it comes to everything kind of syncing up, because that's what it's going to be for him now. Like, yeah, you're right. Like, Tiger is still Tiger, and he can have those flashes of greatness, and he can have those great rounds. But on the flip side of that, you also have to manage the body side, and that's where weather delays, or having to play 27 holes in a day to make something up, or extreme cold or rain, hills, all that is something you have to take into consideration now. And so I think the opportunities become slimmer and slimmer and slimmer when you have to add all those things up. So that's what I'm saying. Like, at what point does he say, I don't think I can actually do it anymore?
I hear what you're saying, but all those things did line up for him this week. The only thing that didn't line up was his game. I mean, he just didn't have it this week. I think it's a completely different story if he comes. Like, would you say like that was his C game?
I don't know what his game is anymore. Yeah. That's the issue.
Well, so let's play a little game here. And who did Tiger beat?
I don't know if he should.
Tiger beat Webb Simpson. Tiger beat Eric Van.
Come on, Mike. Only his whole career.
Let me run down.
No. I hear you. But like,
let me keep going. He beat Eric Van Rooyen, who won a tour event a couple months ago. Beat Zalatoris, beat Fowler, beat
Zalatoris.
Yeah,
the guy with the worst back in Tiger.
Beat Jason Day. Beat Nick Taylor.
Okay.
I mean, he's beating real golfers. He's going out there and he's beating real golfers. He beat Justin Thomas.
Okay, that's the first real golfer that you've listed.
He beat Jake Knapp.
No,
Ben On, who's been playing really well.
no, sir.
Yes.
No, he has.
Ben
But
On, Ben On has been playing better than you think he has.
no, 100%. He's like top 10 in the FedEx Cup and just
Yeah.
hasn't gotten
I
the
mean,
win.
Tiger is beating.
Saying
What I'm
like,
saying here is Tiger is going out there. He didn't play. He played poorly. Missed the cut by 2 shots, not 10. Missed the cut by 2 shots, and beat a bunch of real golfers. So he is probably thinking that, yes, things need to break the right way for him, but if they do break the right way, then he can make something happen. And I agree with you, Sterling. As long as he thinks that, he's going to keep competing, because what else is he going to do? I mean, that's the big thing. When Tiger hangs it up, what else is he going to do?
He's got the TGL.
pray that Charlie has some sort of game and watch him. I think
Competitors want to compete. Competitors want to compete. I mean, that's what they live for. Other athletes start playing golf so that they can keep competing, like MJ. I mean, what does Tiger do after this? What's his next act?
tighten up Sunday Red.
Yep.
Maybe get a new logo.
Come
design.
up with a new logo? That wouldn't be bad.
But does this set him up though for, like, as you say, what does he do next? Like they have this TGL thing that's supposedly getting off the ground at some point. It's an indoor golf, half simulated, half course. I mean, that seems like that would set up pretty well for someone who kind of needs the stars aligned to play well.
I think that's a diversion. That's a pleasant diversion. That's something to keep him from going completely insane. But I think he's just addicted to competition. I really wonder, a guy like that and the way he's wired, how do you retire and be happy? I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things where, I'm looking at it from, watching watching old Tiger and just completely honest here, like I didn't even get to, or wasn't really even watching golf back when Tiger was actually in his prime. I got to catch a couple of the later years where he was still competing and won a couple majors, but the people that are watching now, the people that are kind of coming to the sport of golf and are starting to watch golf now because of all the content that's out there, the big storylines with the division of Live versus PGA, and it's getting more eyes than ever before. And you talk about the greatest golfer to ever live, and then you're kind of watching what he is now. And I think it's one of those things where you're like, I just want him to be what he used to be, or just kind of be the face. I don't necessarily need to see him tee it up, because if he could, Gary Player would get out there and tee it up every single week. You got to watch him karate chop on the range and do backflips and all that stuff. But I don't know. I think it's going to be really tough to kind of retire or step away from the game when people are going to be seeing the scores, and it's not going to, people are going to be like, this guy, like, shooting well over par in a major, or he only plays 4 times a year and he's shooting 8 over, he's shooting 10 over, he's missing the cut. Like, I don't know. That's kind of where I am. I just feel like the legacy part of it is kind of being diminished a little bit with what's happening now.
I don't know. I think it's easy. It's easy to think that way in the moment, because we all want Tiger to be kind of like frozen in amber. Like 2019, if he had walked off the 18th green, if he'd walked into Butler Cabin, put the green jacket on, and said, "It's been a great run. This is it for me. I'm going out on a high note." Yeah, that would have been, that's the ending we all want. But the thing is, it's not about us. Like, we don't get to decide.
But even then, like,
we don't get to decide.
If he wins the Masters and then walks off into the sunset, we're just like, man, like, what could have been? Like, if he would have just kept playing for another 3 years, like, he could have won 2 more and caught Jack, like, whatever. Like, so
yeah, it's one of those things too. Like you would have to know what was about to come down the pipeline for him and his life to kind of be okay with that being the swan song there.
Yeah, but I think plenty of athletes overstay their welcome, and it may be mildly embarrassing in the moment, but we forget about it. Do you think about Joe
Jordan
Montana?
Washington.
What's that? Oh. I was going to say
Jordan at Washington.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I didn't think about that because that's about the time I started watching basketball.
Oh no. But yeah, Jordan. But Jordan is a Washington Wizard, or Joe Montana as a Kansas City Chief. Yeah. Emmitt Smith is a St. Louis, Arizona Cardinal. Go back further. This is before my time, but like Willie Mays is a Met. That stuff gets forgotten pretty quickly. It really does. I don't think that long term. I don't think it really hurts the legacy as much as we think it does in the moment.
Yeah, you're probably right. Speaking of legacy, I want to move on quickly because I think we've just about done and dusted the U.S. Open. Again, congratulations to Bryson on a great victory, his second major win. But we've got another Open coming up very soon in just about 3 weeks, I believe, 3 or 4 weeks. Sterling is looking very stoic on camera right now. I think he knows I'm kind of setting this up for him. State Open of Virginia. Sterling will be there again. We talked about his finish last week on the pod. Excited for him to get back out there again. Heard you were out there on Saturday this week doing a little bit of homework. Wasn't your practice round yet. What did you think of the course?
Should be fun. I don't see the course getting more difficult than it is right now. The greens are probably already rolling at 11.5, 12. It's the next few days, the next week, it's going to be very hot here in Virginia. They don't have a whole lot of water at Independence. I know they like to get the rough a little bit longer, but if it's going to be super hot, no water, no rain, they have no chance. The fairways are going to bake out. It's going to be firm. You're going to be able to hit some 340-plus yard drives. So I'm just hoping they don't get the greens a little too tricked up, because that's going to be the course's only defense. So yeah, I went out there Saturday. I shot 75 with no birdies, no doubles. Just we played it as a par 70. We played it from the U.S. Mid-Am tees, which were pretty cool. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that because those team markers weren't out there. And I played with Peyton and Noah. And on the first hole, we didn't play the U.S. Mid-Am tees because, it's the first hole. We don't want the people in the pro shop seeing us tee off back there. But then the rest of the par 4s and 5s, we played the furthest back tees. On the par 3s, we did respect, the course, and we didn't want to take any divots, so we did play those from the tee boxes that were out. But yeah, par 70, shot 75, 5 bogeys. A few of those were 3 putts. A few were kind of just unfortunate. My ball just ended up in the wrong spot on the green and didn't really have a chance at stopping the ball close on my first putt. But played well. Tied Peyton Broach. He was rolling it like Roy McIlroy in the first 14 holes of the U.S. Open on Sunday. It was insane. he hit a hook on 18. We're tied on 18T. He hit a hook, hits like a 5-iron out of the rough, goes to the green side bunker, hits his bunker shot to 15 feet. I have a 4-footer for par. And I mean, he steps up and he just rolls it right into the hole like he had been doing all day. It was crazy. It was a good time. Should be fun. What did you think about the course, Madison? I know you guys were out. Only 9 holes.
Yeah,
What's going on there?
yeah. So I played 9 at Virginia Beach National on Saturday. Was going to play 18 on Sunday at Independence at around 11 o'clock. Just with driving back from Virginia Beach late on Saturday night, I just didn't feel it. It was Father's Day. The girls were up running around, doing cards and everything like that. So I was like, I'll play a little bit later in the afternoon. Plus, it was hot. I mean, it was hot. I went out around 3:50, and it was still steamy out there. Yeah, I saw the US Mid AMTs as well. I thought those were pretty cool. I snagged a picture of those. I thought the course was, it looked exactly like it did. Was last year when I caddied for you. I will say the fairways definitely seem to be a little bit more brown than what I remember the year prior. I guess because of the heat and lack of water. So I was hitting a lot of 2-irons and everything, and getting like a surprising amount of rollout on them. Um, but yeah, I think the greens will be I think the greens will be kind of where they do try and set up some defense. There's definitely some pin positions on some of those greens that can get pretty dicey, especially on the par 3. Is it the 6th that was playing about 190, 189?
7.
Okay, the 7th. Depending on where they put the pin there, and how firm and fast the greens are, that could be a really tough one as well. It was in the front on Sunday. So yeah, I thought I had a blast out there, and I can't wait to get back out there with you if you want to do your practice round out there. It was a good time though. I think I think this year though you could get away with playing a lot more of your iron shots off the tee just to kind of put yourself in the right spot. I don't think you need to hit driver on a lot of the
I'm just
holes.
gonna stop
Okay.
you right there. So you hit would you did you hit driver off number 1?
I hit 2-iron off 1 and took it over the left bunker.
And what did you have in?
138 yards.
Okay. Out of the rough.
Out of the rough, yeah.
So pitching wedge.
I hit 50 degree because it looked like it was going to jump because it was a little wispy and had a little bit of help.
Yeah. So did you notice like the greens that first bounce?
Yeah, I was below the so I was kind of off from where that bunker is. I was just off the left a little bit, so I was of course below the green because that first hole sits up a little bit. So I hit 50, and the first bounce was pretty good. I mean,
trampoline.
Yeah, like I watched it and I was like, oh man, I hope I didn't hit sprinkler head or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think, like I said, the rough probably won't be a factor, so you can kind of hit it pretty much wherever you want. I think distance is going to be obviously beneficial because then you can, have a wedge or something and hopefully put a little bit of spin on it. I'm probably going to change golf balls as well. I'll probably go from a left dash to the Pro V1 just to get a little bit more green side spin and control. Another thing that I thought was interesting, the scorecard. Did you all play it? Or did you play it as a par 35 or 36?
I played it as a par 36. Isn't it a 36?
No, it's a 35. But for some reason, and I don't know what the requirements are to host a US Mid-Am. I don't know if your course has to be rated and sloped at a certain number. But in the last 4 years, Independence has gone from a par 72 to a par 70, and I don't think they've added any length to the golf course. They've cut a few trees down and added maybe one extra tee box on 12, but they've taken their two easiest par fives and made them par fours, and basically left the yardage the same. So 8, it used to be a like 560 par 5, and like it's a little downhill, usually downwind, and everyone's hitting 300 plus yard drives and going for the green in 2. Now it's a 530-yard par 4. When we played on Saturday, I think I hit driver 9-iron. So that hole's gonna be completely different. It's kind of ridiculous because the green is still a par 5 green.
Right. It's that huge green.
Yeah.
Yeah, with a big slope right in the middle, and it's like you can tell it's got a big bunker up front protecting it from like a 3-wood or something rolling up.
Yeah.
So that one's interesting. And then number 13 used to be a par 5, kind of that little lake just off the tee box. But where the tee boxes are now, it's a long par 4. Drive's going to come up just short of that bunker, and then you're going to have an 8 to 6 iron into that green, and depending on where the pin is, I mean, again, it's still a par 5 green. It's just, I don't get it. I don't know what GIF is trying to do, but he's got a US mid-am coming there, at least for the stroke play portion, so we'll see. Should be interesting. I know the ladies are there right now playing the almost said US. They're playing the Women's State Open. Currently 2 under is leading, and I think this week the ladies are playing it as a par 72. So I'll be interested to see what the MAPGA and VSGA do for the State Open, whether it'll be a par 70 or a par 71. I would imagine par 70 because I think where the tee box is now on 8, it shouldn't play as a par 5. It'll be a little too easy. But we have 3 weeks to prepare. I guess we still have a full month. Actually, it's not until July 19th. We'll see. The game's in good shape right now. My proximity on Saturday wasn't great, but drove it really well. Madison's got a cat behind him. What's his name?
That's Timber there. I didn't name that one. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited just to kind of see you work around that course. We're gonna have a good year this year. We're gonna have a good showing. So, if you happen to be in the Richmond area, around the State Open, come on out, support your guy, give him a couple little chants out there. But like I said, I only played the front, and the greens were pretty quick. We had this conversation when we were at Bayville. The greens were pretty quick, but like I said, your putting has been pretty solid lately. So,
thank you.
It's your one compliment for the year. So, tuck that one away.
Thanks, Ricky.
You need more than that if you're going to be caddying for him. Got to pump your man up.
Sterling goes, look. Sterling
keep him in a good headspace.
Sterling goes quiet when he gets frustrated. He just like walking around with him, just a statue. Just
yeah. Don't talk to me if I'm playing bad.
Yeah.
I don't throw clubs. I don't say anything. I won't talk to you.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. So
I could see that.
Yeah. Oh, I do want to ask, what did you hit off of 3?
I hit 3-wood and 2-iron.
Where'd you end up?
3-wood was in the bunker, right? 2-iron. I was in the fairway, but I had like 175 in.
Okay.
All right.
Sorry, just trying to figure out where you were landing, and I'm up there.
I thought you were going to go somewhere else with that.
Just trying to figure out where you were landing there. That was one that I'm trying to think. I hit 3-iron. No, I think I hit 2-iron there, and got a weird bounce to the right and ended up in that bunker, which is not a great place to be going into that green. So
No, yeah, I think on hole 3, unless it's into the wind, I'll probably go like a big hook 2-iron. If you can just get it to land in the fairway, it'll roll. Like it'll be like a 240 2-iron. On Saturday, it just came up a little short. The first bounces in the rough, and then it rolled out to 175. So
yeah, I will say though, I think it depends on where you land it, because if the rough does not get a little bit thicker, which it doesn't look like it did, the group behind me hit. Oh, I was on the green. They hit one, and it kind of bounced on the little like the knuckle right there, where everything starts to go downhill, and the ball rolled all the way down to almost kind of like where the carts and the walking path exit, which could of course kick it across the path too into the woods. So it's kind of a interesting situation there, if it is firm and fast.
yeah, but you don't want to be there. I mean, it's going to be like a 60-yard wedge shot going uphill into what I'm assuming is going to be a pretty tucked pin. You're not going to have a chance to kind of stop it on the green. But hey, we'll wait and see. Who knows when our next podcast will be? We have the Travelers this week. Obviously, Rory won't be there. Minwoo Lee didn't get in. One thing, Scotty Scheffler was asked in a press conference at Pinehurst. I don't know if it was after his second round or when it was, but Scotty was like, "Yeah, I'm pretty tired." And he said, "Next year, I will not be playing the week before major." So, PGA Tour, what does your schedule look like for next year? I think some of it's probably already set in place, but the Memorial will have to be moved. I know Jack wants it to be moved. Obviously, Scotty does too. So we'll see some upcoming changes to the PGA Tour schedule potentially.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if they can make changes that quickly, though, to react to that kind of a statement, or if he's just going to miss some. He's going to miss some big events next year because he doesn't want to come into majors completely gassed like he did this week. Yeah. I don't blame him. I don't blame him one bit.
All right. Well, thank you all for tuning in. We are deep into the night, deep into the episode. Shout out to the Boston Celtics for winning the 2024 NBA Finals. You hate to see that as a Lakers fan, but they are currently 20 points up with 9 minutes left to go in the fourth quarter. I don't know. I'm just disappointed to see it. First title for them in since 2008. Well, any comments on the NBA Finals?
My brother-in-law will be happy.
Oh, well, shout out to Mike's brother-in-law, Tony. What's his name? Tony, or Mike's brother-in-law, if you're listening, that was just a complete shot in the dark there on your name.
Yeah. His name's Jared, and he's from West Virginia, but good try. Good try. Now, shout out to Boston. Stanley Cup Finals.
Sure.
Game 5 tomorrow night. So Edmonton managed to extend the series, so that's good. At least they didn't get swept. So all my Canadians out there, keep hope alive. Keep hope alive. So Madison, know you're a big NHL guy.
Yeah, I watched the game. Kind of a shock to see Edmonton just kind of blow it out that much. I think
Mm-hmm.
I think if I remember correctly, the Panthers even made a goalie change midway through, but it is nice not to just see anyone get swept. You kind of want some sort of drama like we had this week. You want a little bit of drama at the end just to kind of make it feel like it was a real championship. So Edmonton did their job. They did extend it. So hey, maybe they go on a tear right now and they take the cup home. I doubt it, but we'll see. But Brooks will be happy if the Panthers win.
Brooks will be happy. So, and that's what we care about, right? We want Brooks to be happy.
Yeah.
So speaking of being happy, if you're here at the hour and 20-minute mark, we're happy that you're still here.
Yeah.
And we want to thank you for sticking in here with us. So please be sure to like this, subscribe to us on YouTube, comment on the videos. Really appreciate everybody who's been watching. We've gotten a lot of good feedback on a lot of the things we've done lately. We do have a subscriber giveaway. When we reach 500 subscribers on YouTube, we will be giving away that 48-pack of MaxFly Tour-X golf balls that I tested. So really looking forward to giving those away to a lucky subscriber. Thanks for all of the great interaction with all of our content on Instagram as well. Check out our blog at 2in1golf.com. I know we're not doing much on Twitter, but check us out on Twitter as well. We are there. Feel free to tweet at us. And we'll catch you in the next episode.